The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed indefinitely. ¿Por qué? Welcome to another episode of Games Recap. Hey guys, this is Brandon Pham, and you can tweet today's news at Blue Champs or talk about what your favorite animal is. As always, you can find Games Recap for every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So on to today's news. The Last of Us 2 was originally scheduled to launch for PS4 in May 29th, but the impact of COVID-19 has been felt across the globe and has forced Naughty Dog and PlayStation to push the release indefinitely until such a time where they can solve these logistical issues. Update. Sony Interactive Entertainment has made the difficult decision to delay the launch of The Last of Us Part 2 and Marvel's Iron Man VR until further notice. Logistically, the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience all our players deserve. Director Neil Druckmann has discussed the recent delay of Naughty Dog's highly anticipated PlayStation juggernaut, explaining the frustration of having the game on the 1-yard line, but held up due to the reasons beyond their control. As you've likely just seen, though the release of The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed, we're sure this news is just as disappointing to you as it is to us. We want to reach out to you in our community to give you a little more information. The good news is we're nearly done with the development of The Last of Us Part 2. We are in the midst of fixing our final bugs. However, even with us finishing the game, we are faced with the reality that due to logistics beyond our control, we couldn't launch The Last of Us 2 to our satisfaction. We want to make sure that everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we're doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone. This meant delaying the game until such a time where we can solve these logistic issues. We were bummed about the decision, but ultimately understood it's what is best and fair to all of our players. We're hoping that this won't be a long delay, and we'll update you as soon as we have some more information to share. We wish you all, your families, and your friends the best of health. Thank you for being amazing fans and continuing your support. Stay safe. You know, this is one of the biggest news that is coming out from the game industry. I mean, something that we have anticipated is that medium that are already released are enjoying this pandemic, if there is such a thing, because a lot of people are at home and they usually turn towards entertainment, either on streaming movies or games. What we are starting to see is a domino effect for games that are close to release and not released yet, because this is the development time that is most needed, like at Naughty Dog on Last of Us Part 2, for bug fixing. And so as a game developer, I can at least share my thoughts on that, where they are just having trouble pushing out the game with QAs, quality assurance people, playtesting the game remotely. A lot of the development teams, and this is again speculative, they're just not trustworthy enough, or at least the developer side are not trusting enough. And this is something actually a lot of problems are kind of stemming from, where quality assurance people aren't sent home with test kits and are actually in some cases are still required to come to work to try to push out the game. While these development teams are trying to find a workaround, the truth is there isn't a workaround. People are more than ever need to be home at this time. And with the crunch nature of Naughty Dog added to the mix, it is quite impossible for them to kind of push this game at the finish line, even at the 1-yard line. As we know, using that football analogy, the 1-yard line and scoring a touchdown is usually the hardest time to actually get it to finish, right? Going back to Neil Druckmann, it's a bit rough. Druckmann told the official blogcast of PlayStation, "You're working on something for so long, some of us for years, and there's a built-in anticipation when you're doing this thing. Like, you can't wait for this thing that you've been crafting and honing and sometimes dreaming about. You can't wait to get it into people's hands and then see their reactions, see what they like or didn't like, or where the story takes them. And now you gotta put all that on hold because the whole world is conspiring against us. I hope he means that sarcastically. Internally, we know that we have a great game, and it's just we have to wait a little bit longer to get it out there to the fans. I know fans are disappointed, and believe me when I say this, we're just as disappointed, if not more so, to not be able to get the game out on time. When asked why The Last of Us Part 2 can't digitally be released, Druckmann explained that there's no such plan yet, but the key priority is getting the game to all fans, not just some. Again, this is a huge marketing opportunity for any games to be released. There are more than enough time at hand for players to play games. Even though in the United States and pretty much across the globe, people are hitting a huge rate of unemployment, people who are sitting around, if not looking for food, are looking for ways to eat up their time. Because I can at least share my own experience. It's been a few hard weeks just being cooped up in the house and not a lot to do. So you got to be really creative. Naughty Dog's definitely, and Sony are very disappointed in the fact that they can't capitalize in this moment and really put it out. And it's not much so, at least on my part, believing that they don't want to share some of the game to some fans. Maybe for spoiler, let's just give them that. They don't want the game to be spoiled for some reason, or some fans not having access to that. The truth is that they can't. I mean, they just can't put it out right now. Production, even though at this stage have been mostly finished and it's mostly bug fixing, we do believe that. All right, marching forward. Well, there hasn't been a final decision yet. Right now, we're just reacting, says Druckmann. You know, it's a different retail chain, whether we could get physical copies to people. What is the internet infrastructure there to support in all countries? Come on, this is all bullshit. This is a wonderful game that people in every country are waiting for, and we want to make sure we're fair. Why all of a sudden either make money this year or not make money? I mean, that just is the the truth. There's no such thing as like, I want to make all the money. I mean, they're not gonna hurt. They're Naughty Dog. Last of Us Part 2 is a huge IP. People are either gonna buy it now, and if they can't, buy it later. There's no fan fatigue. So it's kind of weird that they're complaining about how the internet works and how downloadable content, which they've been doing themselves, actually work. So to me, it's just a lot of over explaining about something so simple. Obviously, it's just that they're behind schedule. I mean, I can only think of it as that. If we just get to a small fraction of people, what about all the people that don't get it? Right now, we're looking at all sorts of different options. What's the best way to get it to all our fans as soon as possible? But that's going to be time for us to shift and figure things out and also see where the world's at. You know, things are changing from day to day. So this follows another release date delay that had been pushed back from the game's release until May 2020. Originally, it was supposed to be released for February of this year, but prior to that, it was due out last year. So there's been multiple delays to this game so far. This latest delay has no release date attached, but unlike others, it's not due to extra development time. This is at the tail end of things. They are bug fixing. Sony has previously said that the coronavirus pandemic shouldn't impact the release of the PlayStation 5, which is also due this year. Presently, The Last of Us Part 2 is only slated for PS4. So I don't know, maybe there is something there. Well, let me know you guys' thoughts. I mean, do you guys smell something funny with this release? Or is it really just what he says? It just, Naughty Dog wants it so that everybody gets to play together on a single player narrative game.